let the chaos begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. With a town pride loud within, this is where the game and fun begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. With a town pride loud within, this is where the game and fun begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. With a town pride now within, this is where the game and fun begin. You're listening to Fools Rush In, where the passion and the chaos wins. With a town pride now within, this is where the game and fun begin.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday and welcome back to RI. I hope you enjoyed your extra long weekend without our usual Friday night stream. But we are back tonight and we have got a very, very special guest joining us before we then start talking up the World Cup. And if you're anything like me and have been streaming the Dear England series on BBC iPlayer, then very much like it was when I watched the stage show, I am ready to go. Could this finally be my year? But that is for later. A couple of community notices to start us off. There will be no FRI again this Friday. The summer schedule, I should say, is really starting to kick in now, with mainly one show a week. But next Monday and the following Monday, we have a few special quizzes lined up, which should be a lot of fun. Before we start getting more guests and games and chaos to see us through summer, or before the World Cup itself starts as well. Of course, and for those who have been enjoying it and have been missing it, I've had a word. I've had a word with Carl, and it looks like after a short period away, we are continuing with season 3 of Late Limbs FC on Thursday night. Keep your eyes out on socials. That will probably kick off from around 8 p.m. Anyway, as I say, we have got a very special guest tonight. And as you know, since we started FRI, some 5.5 years ago now, one of the things we have really tried to do, and admittedly it hasn't always worked, but I feel on the whole we have done it very, very well, is to continue to enhance the coverage of women's football locally. And then there are times in life where certain things align and you get given opportunities that you may not get otherwise. And that is what we have tonight, as I am shortly going to be introducing you to the manager of both the Jersey Bulls and the Jersey Women's National Team for some unique insight. And for those who, I can't remember exactly how long ago, but the story of Jersey came up in a conversation we were having on air a couple of months back. And when this opportunity presented itself, I could not say no. As always, live chat is available. So whether you are watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on X, wherever you are watching in the world, firstly, thank you for doing so. Welcome back. And please do get involved with all of the conversation. Send your questions in, send your comments in. I'm sure you will think up just as many, just as quickly as I do. But that is enough intro for me. Let's get the main event of tonight on, as we get to welcome to FRI for the first, and I'm hoping not the only time, to Chad. Good evening, Chad. Welcome to FRI.
Hello, pal. How are you, mate? Thanks for having me on.
No, honestly, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much for agreeing to do this. We were having a little chat off screen before we started. I was explaining a little bit about who we are, why the coverage of women's football is so important to us. So honestly, thank you very much for agreeing to do this. We're going to talk about both the Jersey Bulls and Jersey in a little while, but what I like to do when we get guests on for the first time is get to know them a little bit more, if that's okay. So pretty much all of our audience, I would imagine, won't be familiar with you and your story. So if we could start with what got you into football right at the beginning, your inspirations, that kind of stuff.
I suppose like anybody really was playing football from a young age. So obviously we live in Jersey, which is, I'm sure a lot of your listeners will know, is an island 9 by 5, 107,000 population. So just like any young lad, got into football, into playing in our local league, played in our top league, was never good enough to play for the actual rep team. Well, got called up once, but I think that was because they were scraping the bottom of the barrel. But never got to play in a official fixture. And then just, again, like lots of people, just got into the men's game first of all when I finished playing at 35, 36. And then went more over to the women's side through daughters playing football. Again, which happens quite a bit. Started up they would have been year 4 and 5 at primary school. And it was like a freak year of a lot of girls all wanting to play football in my 3 daughters' year. And then they left primary school, said, can we stay as a team? So we said, we can, but the only way we can do it is enter you into a boys' league, which we did. And did that till they were all the way to 16 and could join the women's league. And then sort of on that journey, ended up helping out a mate who was taking the women's rep team. Went to the Island Games with them. So are you aware of the Island Games, Fifey? What it is?
I'm aware of the Island Games. I've been educated in the way of the Island Games, but please do, again, treat us as complete novices. Explain everything.
So the Island Games is, the best way to describe it would be like a mini Olympics for islands. So, and that's islands from all around the world. The one we went to in 2017 was in Gotland, which is an island of Spain. The one next year is in the Faroe Islands, which is north of Orkney. Actually, I think it belongs to Norway, actually. Belongs to Norway. Orkney are in it. Innismon, which is Anglesey, Isle of Man, Isle of Wight, all the Channel Islands, Bermuda, Falkland Islands. So it's like a big event. So we went there to, I just ended up helping coach him, the women's team in Gotland, and then just stayed involved with it that way. And then just took over the, being the manager in 2019.
And how have you found, I suppose in each stage of that, how did you find the difference? For example, we've been fortunate enough over the years to interview former Swindon players as they've gone into retirement, etc. So how did you find going from kind of playing to not playing and moving from men's football to girls and then women's football? Because that's a lot of transition despite
Yeah.
it being the same game.
So I think the initial transition, I presume a lot of your coaches would have said this, from playing to then managing, particularly if you're managing people that are similar age to you or your mates, is quite difficult. And you've still sort of probably got that playing mentality, which can be a good thing, but also a bad thing if you're on the sideline losing your shit, in all fairness.
Yeah, I get that.
And then as I moved into girls football, my daughter's teams, so being on coaching courses and UEFA C, UEFA B sort of stuff, I was struggling with it, to be honest with you. So they would have been year 7. So, first year at secondary school.
Yeah.
And basically getting nothing out of them at training. Like, they weren't bothered and all that. And my coach mentor said to me, have you actually asked your daughters what it's like being coached by yourself?
Yeah.
So I said, right, I'll give that a go. So asked them. And then by the time they'd absolutely rinsed me and I was picking myself up off the floor for talking too much, stopping the session too much, all the sessions are boring. You either take that on board or you don't do it. So I took the route of taking it on board. And so I think grew that way. And then the difference between coaching men's and women's football, I would say football's football, but you've got to know the why of why you're doing things when you're coaching women's teams. Because I'm trying to think the best way to put this, where we've all got egos, haven't we, as males?
Yeah.
If I was explaining something to you, a session, and say, have you got it, Pfeiffer? You're going to say, yeah, definitely got it, Chad. Yeah, no worries, because you don't want to look like the one. Women are going to be, no, don't get it. I don't understand it. What's the reason we're doing it? And how does this relate straight to the game? So you've got to be on it and know these questions are coming. Know the reason why you're doing anything. So 100% makes you a better coach.
I was going to say, I like how you phrase that, and I can kind of get the sense from how you're saying it that you feel that the understanding of that element of it has actually improved you personally as a coach.
Oh, miles, 100%. You can easily get away with coaching men thinking you're doing a good job because and I was one of them. The lads were always going to say, yeah, get it, I get it, I know it, I understand it. But they want to know, and this is a positive way, not in an arsey way, right? How does this affect me during the game? And how does this link into how the team's going to play and how we're going to play this coming Sunday? Now, obviously, I've been doing training females for about, what would that be now? 8 or 9 years. So okay. I sort of preempt, all of my planning is preempted around what's the why of every single thing we're doing.
What's the question going to be if I don't explain it?
Yeah, because at any point, and now a lot of the time I preempt it by saying, we're doing this, this, and this. The reason for this is this, this, and this. And then even then, you'll get some curveballs thrown at you. And again, none of it's done in a negative way. It's done in because they're inquisitive and want to know the reason behind things happening, which you should do, to be honest with you.
As you say, you've been coaching, particularly in girls and then into women's football for what is it, nine or so years now. How have you found the general standard? Because obviously in that time period is where it's become a lot more in the mainstream as well. You think about, obviously we talk a lot about what the Lionesses have done and the exposure that's done within the country. And more and more girls and more women playing the game, more and more coaches getting involved, more and more experiences to be shared. Are you seeing right from the bottom up that the talent pool is growing?
Yeah, like you wouldn't believe. So what you find now is what used to happen was you would get girls play football at a young age as well as do other sports. So, usually they're decent athletes. So they would be playing football, but they'd also be playing netball and maybe they'd be playing hockey. Now, what happened over here was if you're a good athlete and good at other things, netball, we've got a team called Team Jet, have been playing off island in UK leagues for years. Our hockey's been the same. So as soon as any of the footballers that were half decent and good at other sports, they would get nicked by netball at the age of 14 because they could go off. Right. Why not? Why not? If they get the opportunity to go off island and play as a team every week. Whereas now with this Jersey ball sort of pathway, you're getting them sticking out football from a young age all the way through. And there's things like the way I described how we started up our little team. Now there's the football clubs over here have all got little junior academies. So these
Nice.
girls are going in to play football from the age of, well, they can do it from year 1, year 2, year 3. So they're footballers from a young age. You know, that's how they sort of identify as being footballers from a really young age. So when they come through to 16 now, they've had probably 10 years on the players I first coach, if you know what I mean. So the ones I first coached might have been playing football for 4 or 5 years. These have had 10 years by the time they're 16, let alone as they start to get into their 20s. So yeah, the standard is, and the coaching's good as well. Coaching of all the younger age groups is really good. And the standard, like it has over there, standard's probably risen massively to what it was.
You mentioned Jersey Bulls then. We're going to come on to them in a second because they're obviously within the pyramid, as it were. But for those who might not grasp the situation, as you said, whether you're looking at Jersey as an island or some of your neighbours that we will also talk about very shortly, you mentioned at the very beginning, the populations over there aren't massive. You know, we're not talking millions and millions of people. No. So there may be some who believe there's kind of one, maybe 2 teams on the island that just kind of play football against each other, the East versus the West or the North versus the South. But my understanding is that that's not the case. You have various teams on the island that then start building these experiences up.
Yeah, so we've got, so if we're talking about women's football, there's 4 women's teams over here. And how, shall I sort of explain how that works with Jersey Bulls as well? Yeah, so there's 4 women's teams that we at Jersey Bulls would say we pick the best players who then represent Jersey Bulls. So what happened is we play in the English pyramid, tier 7 we had to go in at. And we only play in the league, so we play 18 league games. So what happens is they dual register. They'll dual register for their Jersey team and they dual register for Jersey Bulls. So one week they'll play with us off Islands. Then if we haven't got a game the following week, they'll then go back to their clubs and play.
And so how does it work for you? Because as we said, I think we've both kind of used the phrase football is football, but I imagine if we're talking about the Bulls now at this stage, being within the English pyramid, that can be something of a logistical nightmare at times, because it must mean sort of every other week, either you're traveling to the mainland or I'm guessing you have to at least be partly responsible and helpful to getting the other teams over to Jersey.
So if we're playing away, if I give you what an away day is, so that would be up the airport for 5:45 on a Sunday in the morning.
Okay.
Then flight at 7 o'clock. You land at 8 at Gatwick North, then go straight to Premier Inn, have breakfast there, get picked up, play the game at 2, finish the game, get changed, go back to the airport. Usually haven't got time for anything to eat, and then it's straight back on the last flight back from Gatwick to Jersey. So it's like, the best way to look at it, it's like a 12-hour day away from home. And then the away team have the same thing, but this is the big one. We pay for the away team to come. So because...
Do they pay for you to come over here?
No, we fund everything, home and away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so a league seat...
Is that some sort of contractual agreement for you to join the pyramid, or is that just the way it's always been?
Well, I don't know if it's contractual. It's just a case of, and this is fine, the leagues in England don't need us, but we need them. So they're like that. By all means, you can come and join the Surrey League, but you need to pay to come over, and then you need to pay for our players to go the other way. It's exactly the same as Jersey men's Bulls teams does. And our Guernsey counterparts, that's just how it works to get accepted in their league. So it's not cheap at all. So for our season, last season, you're looking at about £85,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's big money. So if you think we've played 18 games and the men's side will probably end up playing 50 last year, you can do your sums out of that and work out it's not a cheap gig.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. that experience of, as you say, these kind of 12-hour days to go to the away games. Is it just something you get used to, or have you tried to try and find little nuances and sort of bits of sports science, if you like, to try and offset the travel, and all of this stuff to try and help development and performance?
No, I think it literally is something you just get used to. You just get used to the way I broke that down is just basically how the day goes. You go straight for your breakfast, and then you might have a couple of hours at the at the Premier Inn. And then the girls would just sit around, relax, might play some cards, get in their groups and just play some games or whatever, just to amuse themselves. You just get used to it, really.
You must have a fairly stable relationship with the Premier Inn then, if you do that every other week.
Yeah.
You must be seeing all the same faces.
I tell you what, could do with some more discount, minder, for Premier Inn breakfast. But anyway, but no, I think weirdly, when the opposition come to us, they really struggle with the having to get up early. And like they turn up and they're all knackered and all that sort of stuff. So I think without knowing it, after doing this 2 or 3 weeks in a row, you just get used to it.
We've got our first question in, and if it was going to be from anyone, I knew it would be from Mike. He's a good friend of the show, but he is one of the absolute oracles we've had since day one, who has helped educate me in the ways of women's football and basically knows every story that's ever happened anywhere. And he said, didn't Andover New Street have a challenge where their flight back home was cancelled?
Who was that, sorry?
Andover New Street.
Ah, right. So they play in Guernsey's league.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And no, they did. I remember that. I'm trying to think why that got cancelled. Was that something to do with... That might have been fog, that one, because that does happen a bit on the islands. But I remember, because then you've obviously got to... If it's been cancelled by fog, then... you might not actually get your money back for that. So that could be a thing of Guernsey. You've had to pay double. So
again,
yeah, they've lost the initial flights from, I don't know, they use EasyJet maybe, and then had to pay again to get them all back home, because basically it's your responsibility.
Of course, yeah. And is that a common occurrence for I mean, I'm asking you on behalf of Jersey, but I suppose Guernsey and all the other similar islands would be the same. Is that something you come across a lot, or are you quite fortunate that maybe it's a rarer occurrence than people might imagine?
Yeah, it's rarer. It's a rarer occurrence, which is lucky. I mean, it's happened a couple of times with the men this year, from what I can remember. I'll be honest with you, there's been 3 flights where we've literally got to Gatwick, gone through security, and our gate's been called. So all you need is roadworks, an accident, and that's you missing your flight. And then you miss your flight, and then you're into, right, you need accommodation for the night.
Yeah.
You need a flight back, and then you're talking about another $3.5 grand probably to get everyone back. So like I say, touch wood, we've got away with it at home, and bringing the other guys this way, got away with it this season. Well, it's either got away with it or it's good planning. It's one or the other. Probably got
We'll go with good planning. Good planning. It's all by design. Mike says, yes, they ended up going to Exeter and then getting the train back to their cars. Was the end result there?
Yeah. So, because that's even more expensive than Gatwick. If you're flying into Exeter and Southampton, them flights are a lot more expensive than what we pay.
Wow. So let's enhance the conversation then around Jersey Bulls. As you said, they're in the pyramids. Step 7, you said,
yeah.
And I've been making sure I don't get this wrong all day. So that's because there's plenty of teams down sort of Kent and Surrey and all this. That's the Surrey Division 1, if I'm right.
That's right. Yep.
And a successful season for you this year.
Yeah, no, it was good. So we played 18, won 18, so you can't get much more successful than that. I think, obviously, with them sorts of results, we're good enough to be playing in higher leagues. That goes without saying. But then also, it's good to have a year of like all the sort of stuff we're talking about, getting used to, the players getting used to the travel, not just the players, the coaches as well, getting used to the travel, any hiccups. So sometimes arriving at the ground a bit late, or the pitch isn't the best, or the referee's not sure if the game's going to be on. So sort of dealing with all that and then still managing to get a result. So yeah, it's probably not been the end of the world, but we certainly should have been in the high league. But I sort of guess why the FA's done it. We've got no history over there at all. So why would they say, yeah, let's chuck Jersey Bulls in at tier 6? You know, there's no reason for that.
On all the logistical side of stuff that you were mentioning just a moment or two ago, John's messaged in and said, who is it that sponsors the side then? Is it lottery funded local businesses? Is it Jersey FA?
No, so it's local businesses fund us. We've got 3 premier sponsors. So how they do it is you have a platinum, gold, silver and bronze sponsors. So platinum would be front of shirt. Gold would be back of shirt. We've got training kit sponsors. So that's it. You could almost be like a Formula One racing driver in all fairness, because basically everything is up for sponsorship. You know, if you've got if you've got to raise that amount of money, everything that can sponsor gets sponsored. So we're still looking for, I think, another 2 for next year. The ones we've got have been great and they're like locked in for 3 years. So, you know, that's a really good deal. But you just got to keep at it, basically. We've got good committee who work on the island trying to get more sponsorship off the island and off island. So if any of your listeners want to put in a few quid, be more than happy. But yeah, that's all it is. It's like non-stop, always trying to raise money and trying to get more sponsorship. The idea being behind having a sponsorship package or deck is if one pulls out, that's not it done. You know, if someone said that Jersey Bulls, there's £100,000 and then the next, you know, in 2 years' time they pull out, you know, that could be you stuffed. So that's why they do it in a deck, which makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So as you said, 18 out of 18 this season. Clearly, the capability is to play higher. I imagine the desire is to play higher. What does the leap from step 7 to 6 look like for you? Is it add much in terms of all that background, not on the pitch stuff you were talking about? Is it the kind of opposition more widespread, or is it still fairly localized in that sense?
So we've gone up to Surrey Premier, which is basically it counts as like tier 6.5, if you like. We've got to get through this league and then we'd be into 6. So the very similar area, better teams, people. Dorking Wanderers under 23s won it this year, so they've just gone up. I think Sutton Reserves are in it, so it's a slightly bigger area. It'll always, at the moment, it'll be probably an hour and 20 from Gatwick, that sort of thing. You know, we went down as far as Fleet this year, which is just in Hampshire, isn't it? Fleet, that was about an hour away. Ash, about an hour away. So yes, similar sort of area. And then again, when you take the step up, then the area will get wider again, or the you know, the logistics get a little bit wider again. But all that would mean for us is, because we're at Gatwick so early, it just means you get picked up earlier. Then Premier and breakfast have to get cut a bit short because you've got longer to travel.
So you mentioned that there are 4 teams on the island that kind of the Bulls or feed into the Bulls, or you get your pick off them. But for people who don't know, is that kind of, I'm trying to think that there are sort of teams in Spain and I think Portugal that do the thing where you have to be from an area to play for them. Is that part of the deal, or is your net a bit wider? Can I suppose it's difficult, but can people who are on mainland play for Jersey and vice versa?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, we try and keep it Jersey Bulls as a island-based team to give the players on the island the opportunity. But the caveat to that is we've got girls who are from Jersey who go to university. So we've got 2 at Bournemouth, 1 at Exeter. We've got another one going back to uni who'll go back to Brighton. So we'll dual register them. So they'll play for teams over there. And then if they haven't got a game and we need them, like that happened 2 or 3 times this year where specific positions we needed. So rather than try and put square pegs and round holes, we had like 2 wide players that we needed to play. So we just called them up. They travelled up. We pay their expenses. They get the train. We paid for that. They come and play for us, and then go home, because they're all involved in the rep team as well. So all the players all know one another and familiar with each other. So it's not like it's some outlier who nobody knows who's just rocked up to play. You know, everyone knows one another.
And what's the aspiration? I mean, I suppose it's easy to say climb as high up the ladder as possible, but is this something that you can see getting right into the upper tiers and going pro and all this stuff, or do you think there's a limitation to what an island team can do?
I think you're right. I think you'll always have a glass ceiling as an island, because we're like captive audience, aren't we? So it works in two ways, where we've got players on islands who, when they go back to uni, will play tier 5 football, tier 4 football. So if they lived in England all the time, they would never have played for Jersey Bulls. You know, they would be playing at tier 7. So it's like it's a double-edged sword, where, you know, we can have a really good squad that if we were together all of the time, I think, if you like, put me on the spot, I would say we're good enough to be top of tier 5, bottom of tier 4. You know, if you picked us up, dropped us in tier 4, I think we would survive just. I think if you did the same in tier 5, I think we'd be up round the top, you know, promotion sort of edges. So, you know, it's a decent squad. The thing with women's football, as you know, is it can be quite ruthless because only one team ever goes up from these divisions. So
yes,
all you would need is, as Guernsey had in their league, all you need is a Farnham. With the women's game and the player, the top end getting better and better, obviously the players start to filter down then. So you can have a team like Farnham, who are in tier 6, who pay it, or I believe were paying tier 3 players, tier 4 players to play for them because they want to get through the leagues, which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're in a league with one of them and there's only one promotion place, you can be as good as you like, but it doesn't mean you're going to get out of that league.
Basically doing what's known amongst our fan base as doing a Wrexham.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah, good way of putting it, yeah.
Oh, that Disney money, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the what would you say is the succession rate then? Just enhancing on that last answer of players that represent the Bulls, and we're going to talk about the Jersey national team in a minute, but represent the Bulls, kind of go to the mainland, start playing for the teams here, and then progressing up. Is there a everyone uses the phrase pathway. Is that something that you're seeing happening a lot more now?
Yeah, I mean, there's the younger girls on the island. There's some good 15 and 16-year-olds. You know what the ideal thing would be for some of these players is they don't play for Bulls because they're spotted at being ages 15 and 16, like what happened with the girl Shanna who plays at Plymouth, and they go straight off to Plymouth. We had another girl called Becca Pierce who was on island and has got straight into Chelsea's academy. So,
wow.
Yeah, so from that point of view, you know, if they never play for Bulls, it's probably going to be for a good thing because they've gone way past us, which is great for their careers, and that's the sort of stuff you want to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I bet you have a sense of personal pride when you see those sorts of things happening, though, because you've played a part in helping that happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I suppose a bit, but you don't sort of really think about it when you're involved in it because it's not, you know, It's not just me. I get to do the good stuff of doing Jersey Bulls and the rep team. There's so many other people involved over here in women's football who really push it along way more than me. Because for me, it's coaching the younger girls. That's the thing. You know, it's all right for me when they come into our squad and we've sort of got the best players and a way that we try and play and we're coaching them for what the next game is. It's the making them the footballers is the thing. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm not even the best coach in my house. I've got 3 daughters that coach the young girls, and when I watch them coach, it like just blows me away how, you know, like the relationship.
So they've learned that from being coached by you. And
yeah,
then enhanced it with their own personalities.
Yeah, maybe. I doubt it, but maybe they learned it from their mum. That's probably what it is.
I know you said that their coach. Are any of them still playing themselves?
Yeah, one of them plays in the team. One of them plays in the Bulls team. Yeah.
And do you think that's that step up into coaching? Do you think that's something any of them might like to do and follow in the footsteps, as it were?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I'd like to say they're good at it because it's the you can learn all the what do the Americans call it? All the X's and O's. You can learn all that sort of stuff, but the actual emotional intelligence, that's a bit that's hard to learn. And because like their teachers as well, they've coached since they were like 11 and 12. And not just them, plenty of females on the island. That's what they've really got. You can learn all the other bits as you go, but you can't learn that. And if you're good at that and you can get the players on board and the players want to play football first and then play for you, you know, you're onto a winner then.
Absolutely. Even Johnny, welcome. Thank you. I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for asking. I hope you are too. Let's take a step across then, because as we've alluded to, and as I said in the intro, it's not just Jersey Bulls in the pyramid, it's also the rep team or the national team. How different is it doing both?
So just because, this is weird, this is going to sound like the message I sent out for the Marathi. Just because you play in the Jersey Bulls team doesn't mean you're getting in the rep team, because them girls at uni, we said, who are playing at high level, they're up for selection. I mean, there's criteria to play in the Marathi, which is a bit odd, but which is the Jersey v Guernsey game, which is like our big game. Like we said before, it's like Swindon v Oxford. It's like the big one you do not want to lose.
Well, let's talk about that first then. So the Marathi, as you say, is the derby between you and Guernsey. It was held recently, and after losing the last couple, not only did you win, but you won comprehensively. So congrats for that.
Thanks very much.
But as you said, you likened it very nicely for our audience, saying it would be the equivalent of Swindon Oxford. But I imagine it's that bit more, because it's not just local pride, but it's island pride. So it's kind of bordering on England, Scotland, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it probably is, to be honest with you. It's something that the best, we lost last year, lost the last two, so it stays with you for the year. I'd love to say it's only football,
because it's just a once annual, is it?
Yeah, I'd love to say it's like it doesn't matter, it's only footy, which is true. There's way more important things, but it does stay with you for the year.
Not on the day, there's not.
Oh, if you get beaten, and it gets worse and worse. But luckily enough, like I said, we've been on the right end of it this year. Yeah, because, and particularly in these days with social media, a lot of the players have all played against one another since they were young. So there's lots of this sort of stuff goes on interinsular, it's called, from under 11s. So a lot of them have had these battles going since they were under 11, and you know, like
they know thy enemy, sort of thing.
Yeah. So things get carried over from year to year, and then you can imagine with social media, they're like digging each other out non-stop. So as football should be, you know what I mean? That's what football should be about, rivalry.
Tribal and rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. Wanting to beat one another, being on the right end of it. So things like we won this year, and the first thing you do is get the trophy and go straight over to the scoreboard and point at the scoreboard, all that sort of stuff, all that sort of nonsense. But yeah, it's like, you know, that's what it is, isn't it? That's football rivalries. That's what makes it good. And so they'll be chomping at the bit next time they come here, or next time we go over there to play them.
So forgive me if this is incorrect. I don't know if it's fundamentally different between men's and women's football, but I presume in the same way we've seen examples of pro footballers kind of playing for these islands and then being able to represent, say, England. I presume the likes of Jersey isn't a UEFA coefficient nation. It's kind of one that, like you say, these university women, they can go and get the exposure from, and they can play in international tournament, but they can still then go on and play for a coefficient side if they develop well enough and get up the ladder.
Yeah, so May Letitia then would be your May Letitia from Guernsey and Alex Scott from the men's side from Guernsey. They've both represented their islands, but they can also represent England. I think they've actually recently changed, you might know more than me, FIFA have changed the rules where if you're from the Channel Islands, you can actually now only represent England unless you've got a father, you know, a mother, father or grandparent from another country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's a recent thing they changed, because at one point we could have represented any of the home nations.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
But now it's specifically England unless.
Yeah, because we had two young lads who played under 16 for Wales. So Wales were switched on, knowing what the rules were, and picked up some of ours who were at Fulham. and had them playing for Wales. But like I say, it's definitely recently just changed, and it's England, or like you said, a parent can make you eligible for another country.
So how widespread can this exposure get when representing Jersey at this level? I know you mentioned there were tournaments, etc., where you could go and play like Caribbean sides, and is this a regular thing, or is this again kind of one of those like every 4-year type occasions?
So that's every 2 years.
Okay.
So we last one was 2 years. No, last one was last year in Orkney, which is, well, you know, that's islands up in Scotland, and we had Bermuda in our group, and you do not want Bermuda in your group because Bermuda are actually a FIFA country. They play in what's the Caribbean one? Is it CONCACAF? Is it CONCACAF, the Caribbean?
CONCACAF.
No? Yeah. So they basically came, played us, and then they do things like their Gold Cup, where they play the other Caribbean islands.
Yeah.
I know Bermuda's not a Caribbean island, but you get my point. And and then they do their World Cup qualifiers. So
wow.
You get but it's good.
I suppose for your team that's a hell of an experience that they're probably not really getting elsewhere to go against that level of opposition.
Oh yeah, so I mean, in the last couple of island games, we've played, like I said, Bermuda. We played Hitra, which is an island off Finland. Obviously, you have things. Shetland, we've played Orkney, Isle of Man, Isle of Wight. It's just it's a really good. If you ever get a chance to go to one, just like an absolute great event. Oh yeah. That is how I described it before, is basically a mini Olympics. Obviously, we do the football side, but there's all the athletics goes on, volleyball, squash. Yeah, everything you can think of. It's a great week, really good. As regards exposure, I'm not sure you'd be getting picked up by any professional clubs. I think one of our players, this is years ago, a female player, Jodie, got picked up by Åland, who are a Finnish professional team. So this would be like 15, 20 years ago. She got picked up at an Island Games. They seen her play and then signed her up for a year over there. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's more of a definite amateur event.
Do you think, again, similar to what I was asking about the balls, is there a ceiling, do you think, to this as well? Or do you think that there will come a point where the likes of yourselves, possibly your neighbours over in Guernsey, you could start, what's the right way of phrasing this? You could start kind of living the pro life. You'll start getting your own actual kind of being able to enter the qualifications, that kind of thing. Or do you think that it'll be limited to kind of island games only?
So we applied for FIFA 2017. But that point it was, I know we went through all the right channels and all that, but we were never getting in. They've more or less closed the door on, who were the last ones? Gibraltar, I think, weren't they? I think Gibraltar might have been the last ones to get in, because they changed their, I think they changed their rules about, you have to be a sovereign state, is it maybe? So they change their rules regularly. So that was like, if you get into FIFA, and this was talking to all the heads of Gibraltar, your world just changes as regards. I don't know. Did you ever watch the Gibraltar documentary on their first year when they got into FIFA?
I haven't, no.
Oh no, it's good. It's interesting because it's just, you go from being like we are, amateur footballers, to suddenly you're playing Germany, you're sitting in front of all the Sky Sports cameras, and you've got things like millions and millions and millions of pounds thrown at you. So it's not a little thing being in FIFA. So that would never happen to us. That them doors will never be open again, I don't think.
So you clearly, I hope it's coming across to everyone who watches it and will be listening to this back when it's uploaded to Spotify, etc. You're clearly very passionate about what you do. You've been doing it a long time. How do you maintain the drive and motivation to carry on going and doing it?
The players, really, without sounding cheesy. I mean, they're just this year, the first year at Bulls was the first time any of them have ever done that. So we agreed we would only train once a week, because that left them to train the other day with their clubs.
Mhm.
but we also push them to have to do a lot of stuff in their own time.
Okay.
So like gym work, obviously nutrition. Like I said to you, it's a 12-hour day, so you've got to prepare the day before. You know, if you think we were training on a Friday for a game on a Sunday, so you train on a Friday, then all day Saturday, you've got me putting like the game plans, you know, like the slides and the presentations into the group chat. Them have an answer back, then they have things like their what the itinerary will be for Sunday, and then they've got the full Sunday. So even though it just seems like it's a 12-hour day, it's, you know, it ends up like a 3-day thing.
3 days, yeah.
It's like a 3-day event build up to a game of football. And then obviously the preparation and the nutrition's got to be good because of you've got to get up so early and because you've got to eat right, and then you've got to be ready to play football. And then they do a lot of gym work in their own time, a lot of fitness stuff, strength and conditioning. Like, their commitment is unbelievable. And you know what the other thing is? They're a good bunch.
Yeah.
You know, like basically none of them. You did say I'm allowed to swear, did you, on this or not?
You did. You can swear as much as
you know
like.
what? None of them are dickheads. So
Nice.
what I mean by that is you like being in their company. It's not a chore.
Uh-huh.
So that just sort of that helps fuel it as well. And like we keep saying, there's better players, enthusiastic players coming through underneath them as well. So yeah, I think that just keeps it going. And also having good coaches. So I've got we got Laura coaches with me, female coach who's like everyone's mum. Harry, who's younger lad, closer to their age. Jacob, a goalkeeper coach, a strength and conditioning coach. So yeah, it's good. It's like everything's a team, and everybody gets on. I think that's the thing. Everybody gets on. There's no dickheads.
Speaking of people who aren't dickheads, this whole thing has come about because we have a mutual friend who put us in touch with each other, and you have given off an authentic and very professional aura thus far. He has sent me 2 questions to ask you.
Here we go. Do you know what? I've been waiting for this. Go on then.
which I don't have available to flash up on the screen, like the ones in the chat, but I will ask them. And I did say we wanted to get to know you as well, so I think this is going to be perfect. He suggested that I ask you what your favourite cocktail to set on fire is.
Oh no, that was that. I presume he's talking about is it a flaming Sambuca?
It was a flaming Sambuca, yes.
Yeah. That was a very drunken night where him and Andy basically took advantage of me and got me very drunk in Haverhill without me knowing. I think at one point, definitely nose hairs were on fire. That's 100%. And I was in a bad way for about 3 days after that.
Well, the story as it's been told to me, and I will quote you word for word what I've been given after the question, is many years ago we went out in Haverhill and he drank at least 3 drinks that the bartender set on fire on the bar. We found him later in KFC just sat laughing to himself.
Yeah, okay, maybe that bit as well. Yeah. Yeah, definitely that bit. Oh my God. Yeah, and I tell you what, you are rough as a bear's arse after them as well. That I think that's the first and the last time I've had them.
I'll tell you what, personally, I don't mind a flaming Sambuca. The problem is not enough places will set fire to their Sambuca. In fact, little story for you. I don't know if I've ever shared this on Fools before, but on my stag do, there was 6 of us went out to Mallorca and we had a fair few flaming Sambucas. So at the wedding, a tray of Sambuca was delivered. And but the barman the bar lady who was also the manageress of the venue that me and my now ex-wife were celebrating our wedding at refused to set fire to said Sambuca. So the stag do party did nothing more than went into the facilities themselves, got a load of toilet roll, stuck it in the glasses, and just used the lighter to set fire to the tray of Sambuca themselves.
Class. Oh, I love it. Yeah, no, I love it. Do you know what? That must have been like 15 years ago talking about them. I bet you're right. I'm not sure if anyone lights them anymore, do they?
No, a lot of places won't light them.
No.
A lot of health and safety gone mad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Takes away the fun.
Speaking of taking away the fun, the second question we've had from our mutual friend Dan is to ask you, what's the hottest kebab sauce you've ever had?
I'm not giving you the full story of this, by the way, but that...
Is that his fault as well?
Yeah. No, actually, I think that's my own fault. that was having hot kebab sauce, having a kebab on a night out again, after having some kind of spicy Chinese dish even earlier, and then having to get up at the crack of dawn the next day to go on a holiday with my missus and her family, absolutely stinking a kebab, stinking the booze, and then having to stop at nearly every single roadside toilet I could find. What would have been ideal at that point would have been ice cubes to put somewhere, to be fair, to cool it all down.
Very nice. Very descriptive. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. Yeah.
I while doing my research, I found that there are quite a few of your, going back to Jersey Ball, sorry, there are quite a lot of your games are streamed, so people can watch them.
Yeah. I'm going to have to walk as I talk, so I need to plug you in here. Go on.
No, that's okay. I was gonna conclude anyway. You've already given more than enough of your time. I was just gonna say, what for anyone who's interested in finding out more, what message would you give anyone who's just interested in sort of following on from this, looking into it a bit more themselves? What for anyone who's interested in broadening their horizons with maybe a new team just to follow on socials? What message would you give to them?
Yeah, so I think if you go on, you can go on Instagram, follow Jersey Balls. What's good is on YouTube. If you go on Jersey Balls YouTube channel, that's where our games get streamed on a Sunday at 2:00. And by all means, what would be great is going on them now and actually having a look at a few of the games, and then following whenever we play on Sundays. I'll let you know when games are on, if you can give us a shout out when there's going to be one, and to get our viewers up, and particularly a UK audience up, be great. But definitely go on YouTube, Jersey Balls channel, and you'll see all of our games are on there already from this year. So if you're really bored, you can have a quick look at one of them, get a flavour for what we're about, and then start following us next year, which would be brilliant. We could have a new Swindon Town and Jersey Balls collaboration.
This has been sensational. As I said, I had an idea how this would go. I hope this isn't a one-time and done. I hope we are able to arrange another time for you to come on and talk some more. But as I said, we actively talk about and promote, obviously, Swindon Town women's side. We talk about Wharton Bassett's side. We talk about Corsham's side. And it would be a pleasure and a joy just to be able to keep in touch and let people know what's going on with Jersey Balls and Jersey as it happens, just as when the new season takes shape and kicks off, and we can see if you can have another 100% record and we can get out of 6.5 and into 6.
Oh God, yeah, no, that'd be great if we can keep in touch. I'll tell you what, while you're on, as long as I don't lose you, right, is so talking about stories of Swindon Town, I forgot about this, just come to me. Your team that got promoted with Glenn Hoddle, so that'd be 90. Is that your 93 team?
Yes.
Right. So I was out. They came over to Jersey. So do you remember you had a player called Chris Hammond at one point? I'm not sure if you remember him.
It's in my very, very infant years, but yes, I'm aware. Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, they came over to play a friendly over here. This is obviously a long time ago, 93, and
so
that's
we're probably 92 at this point then.
Yeah. So I tell you what, John Gorman had just taken over.
Even earlier.
Yeah. So we.
93. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, 93. Yeah. So we're in a pub in Jersey, and then your whole squad walked in. And Terry Fennick come up to me and said, in his Geordie accent, what sort of decent pubs there to go round? So we pointed out a couple, and he said, are you happy to show us round for the rest of the weekend? So me and my two mates spent a full weekend free of charge out with Swindon Town. So that would have been your Fennick.
Oh, sensational.
John Moncur, Andy Much, is that right? Yeah. So full weekend, all paid for on Swindon Town. So you'll always have a place in my heart, that's for sure.
Well, I can tell you something for now. No one's getting a free night out on Swindon Town these days
anymore.
But I would genuinely have loved to see what that night out or that weekend in Jersey turned out. Just you, your mates, and Swindon Town.
Oh my God! Especially Moncur, he is off his head. Oh my God!
Well, Mike says Fennick could drink.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Yeah, he was first over, wanted to know everything, literally, as in what was it? I think obviously that's a day that would have been before mobile phones. He'd like give me the number to his hotel to ring in the next day so we could arrange what pub we're meeting up in. So we must have done an
Wow.
all right job trying to keep up with Fenwick.
Well, listen, thank you so much. You've already given probably 20 minutes more than I'd asked for or expected. As I say, I will certainly be putting your stuff out on our socials throughout the
Brilliant.
season when it starts again. I hope we do stay in touch and we could chat some more. But thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to go face to face as opposed to just over text message. And
Yeah.
I look forward to chatting again in the very near future.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I loved it. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for having us. Thanks everybody out there as well.
I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, pal. Take care.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, pal. See you, bud. Bye.
Huge thank you and mad respect to Chad for coming on. It's not easy, I suppose, coming on to a forum which isn't based around the topic, but I think just getting that insight is very much important to me for my understanding and broadening my knowledge of what goes on. But also we hear so many stories. We're so lucky to have the likes of Woody and Rich and Mark when he comes on talking about their experiences in coaching. So I'm really glad that we had the opportunity to have Chad on, a different voice, hearing the story. As John's comment was earlier, he's so knowledgeable about what it was, but just their whole setup seems so professionally well done. It was great to hear. And Mike says, I can see Chad still there in the lobby, so I hope he sees this comment. Mike has subscribed to the YouTube channel. We will put the YouTube channel out. He's sending a thumbs up, Mike. I can see that. We will put the YouTube channel out after the show. If everyone could drop it a like and subscribe, just like on ours. It helps with the algorithm. It helps with sharing. And it just helps to promote everything because that's what we're here to do. Speaking of what we're here to do, cometh the hour, cometh the man. It's time to decide if 2026 is the year it finally comes home. I dared to dream, I believed, and I had my heart firmly broken by Gareth Southgate. But is the German version going to go that one step further? The man that's going to tell me yes is in the lobby now, and we are going to spend the next however long talking about the World Cup. Good evening, Wazza.
Good evening, Fifey, sir. How are we?
I am very well, thank you. How are you?
Yes, not too bad, mate. Couple of weeks. I've had a couple of weeks, bit of a mad couple of weeks, haven't we? Because we've had the bank holidays. I say I'm busy.
Celebrating your anniversary.
Yeah, I say I've been busy, but you're probably the busiest man at the moment. You're everywhere.
I wouldn't say I'm the busiest man. I would probably suggest I'm up there in terms of miles being covered at the minute.
You are covering some serious ground. Yeah.
I'm trying to think how long, maybe a fortnight ago, I said to you that I think my equation is that 5 of the next 7 weekends, I'm touching Swindon at some point. I'm spending more time in Swindon than I do during the football season.
Yes, you are. Yes.
But there we go. I had the pleasure of your company on Friday, for example. And
We had a good night, didn't we? We had a very enjoyable night. Paul Merson was very funny, wasn't he? I thought it was a good night. I was speaking to my lad Charlie at work today, and he went really well. He's really happy,
Good, I'm glad.
and he's hoping to get another one in towards the end of the year. So he's been looking at a couple of possibilities. So just seeing how that all sits. But yeah, he done very, very well. Fair play to him for his first show. I thought it was decent, and I thought Paul Merson had some very good stories to tell, and I thought he was very frank and very honest when the questions that were asked. He said, "Look, ask me anything." And I thought it was a very, very good evening, and he was a good listen, Paul Merson. I think I could have listened to him longer. Definitely, I thought he had some really, really good stories to tell.
Definitely. Mike says, was a celebrating ATS shutting in Swindon?
Hey, there's enough cars on the road for me to put tyres on. Do you know what I mean? I don't like to see anyone out of a job, but it just shows the way of the world, isn't it? At the moment, it's these big national chains, and this is why I quite like. Sorry, not preaching about Save On, but this is why I quite like where I'm at with just one site and one, because I can't imagine the overheads and all the staffing and everything like that, and that's who I feel for, the staff that are out of jobs and stuff like that now. But it's Yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah, if there's a less garage in Swindon, hopefully some of the customers will drive up the road to the best, and they'll see us up there. So fingers crossed, mate.
Well, look, let's talk serious matters,
Oh.
and we are on tonight to talk the World Cup. Now, people might not realise this. People who didn't watch the early years of FRI and remember me being just a younger version of Ben, where I hoped and dreamed of everything. They just see me as the sarcastic and negative version that I am nowadays. But if there's one thing that keeps the football romanticist in me was, as it does you, it's international football and daring to dream that we might see England lift that World Cup one day. Over the last few years, we've been spoilt by recent standards, 2 finals, a semi and a quarter final. Southgate, as I said just before you came on, I know he had his critics. I was a big fan. I thought he achieved a lot, and I think he was unfortunate, and yes, partly his own doing, but I felt at least one of his tournaments we could have won. Do we dare to believe that the man dubbed the German Gareth Southgate can take us one step further? Was
You've got to look at it that way. You can already tell by the squad that he selected that he's made some ballsy calls, hasn't he? And he's got no problem in making those ballsy calls. I think he's brought in to do that. He's brought in to get us to at least the final. You know what I mean? And that's what he's brought in to do, to win us the competition. So yeah, I was a bit skeptical at the start. I understand where a lot of people come from by saying, "Oh, it should be an English manager. It should be this. It should be that." But when you look at it on paper, there was no English manager about, in my opinion, that is as successful as what Thomas Tuchel has been. So for me, I'm all for that. The FA have took a little bit of a punt, whether it's going to be a one tournament thing or he's been offered a new deal, and stuff like that. Whether this carries on, you know what I mean, we don't know. But we've just, at the moment, you just got to look at it, and like he will be looking at it, it's one tournament at a time. So he's going to be looking at this tournament that we're going to now. I'm like you. I get so excited for a tournament. Don't get me wrong, I watch international football, I watch the qualifiers, and people go to me, "Oh, why do you watch this rubbish? It's boring, it's this, it's that." And it is, I get it. But there's nothing like tournament football. Like the World Cup is the pinnacle, isn't it? And as much as
you know, just over yonder, I have my flags and my glasses and my novelty headgear all ready to put out, probably next or at the weekend when I get home. So that'll all be ready to go. But let's start with our nation then. I personally believe there were maybe 5 mistakes, 5 players I wouldn't necessarily have picked in the squad. There were some big omissions. Harry Maguire was a big omission. There's no Trent, which, depending on your view on that. But what do you make of the England squad as a whole? Because, I mean, I'm looking at it, and the one thing it does have, and I'm probably recency bias is in there for me. There are players who can produce moments for me. As I said, I've been watching the Dear England series on BBC. You remember the last tournament? I'd just been to watch the stage show. They were showing it at the cinema. I came out and I put a voice note in the Fools chat saying, "Guys, I was negative going into that, but having watched that, football is definitely fucking coming home. This is our time. Southgate's going to do it." I've watched it again, and I've shared it on my Facebook and Instagram again. Like, I think back to last tournament, I'd forgotten all about the Bellingham bicycle kick until I watched it back. And as good as that goal was, I've just seen the Ollie Watkins goal against Holland again, and instantly shared my social saying, I want to feel that again.
Why does it all starts coming up on your algorithms? The BBC Sport are like the highlights, and I'm with like you this week. I've watched that Bellingham overhead kick over again. I've watched the Ollie Watkins goal over again. I've sort of destroyed myself by watching the Spain final again and thinking what could have been, just to win a major competition again.
In your opinion, just on that, which one, however you want to take this, which was worse, Italy or Spain?
I think that Italy won because the position that we were in, because we were ahead in the game. Against Spain, I always felt like we were chasing it. They went ahead, and then we got back into it, and then it was a moment to could we have gone on and won the game? And but Spain always just seemed to have that little bit of quality or that extra gear that they could have gone. I think we had the Italians exactly where we wanted them, and if there was one that we give away, and that's the only thing that I would say about Southgate, and I like you, I was a massive fan. If Tuchel's in that position, I think he acts differently to what Southgate does and probably gets us over the line. Just with that big game experience, whether it's not at international level, but at club level with Chelsea and other teams that he's managed, I just see him maybe getting us over the line. But with, like you say in the question, the Italy game was the one that hurt the most for me because we were in that position to win the game, and then we just sort of let it slip away from us.
I was asked this question earlier today, and I said Italy hurt more. I was most upset by Italy. Italy was the one that had me heartbroken. Spain,
Yes.
I was annoyed because I felt we feared them when we shouldn't. And
Yeah.
I felt we let them. I don't think that Spain team is as good as people think it is.
No.
And we just very much like, and there will be people who won't like this. I think England did to Spain in that final what Arsenal did to PSG in the Champions League final. They didn't believe they were good enough to compete.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of see what you. It was two different. The problem is with England, we've never been a team renowned for ball possession, have we? Keeping the ball and stuff like that. So that's why you've got to try. And I don't mind that because then you've got to try and hurt teams in other ways, like set pieces and on the break with pace and however you're going to go about it. But Spain has always been. I think your comparison there with PSG Arsenal was absolutely spot on. Because PSG renowned for keeping the ball possession, having the ball, pass, and it typically run by a Spanish, by a Spanish manager in Enrique. So it's definitely, that's the way that final was, and maybe we could have been a bit braver, but when Palmer scored that equaliser, you thought the game plan, have we worn them down? Have they not put this tie to bed? Have we got back into it now? Have we got that opportunity? But then we sort of got the goal, and then we just went back into our reserve, didn't we? Again, that we sort of went back into ourselves, into our shell, and then we let Spain get back on top, and then they score the winner. So I just feel like Tuchel will make these bigger calls that if we are back in the game or we are winning, I don't think he'll rest on his laurels. I think he'll go to try and attack the game, and maybe go for the winner rather than waiting for something to happen. Do you know what I mean? I just think he'll be a bit more proactive.
Well, Mike said there, I think Swindon have just made my expectations in football so low that I'm just hoping England turn up in the right country. And John said, we won't go chasing the ball. We will keep the ball more than any team in America, Mexico, Canada as well, should we end up playing out there. One of the big questions, I suppose, and we are going to come back to talk about England specifically, but just while that's in my head, obviously we had the tournament in Europe after COVID that we ended up playing the final at Wembley. We've had a tournament in Germany. And we haven't managed to get the job done in Europe. How do you think this England squad's going to cope? Because you've got different, as people say when they go on holiday, there's different heat, it's a different humidity, it's a different game out there.
Yeah, but this is, I think, the reason why they've flown out today. You know what I mean? Do England normally fly out at least 2 weeks, but more than 2 weeks before their first game?
Going away friendly, don't they?
Yeah.
They're playing 2 friendlies in America.
They're playing 2 friendlies, which I've got no problem with. You know what I mean? The only way you can adapt to conditions is to be out there. That's the only thing you can do, isn't it? I'm sort of on the fence with this sort of situation because I can kind of in my head, I'm kind of I can see it, but then surely the advantage should be with the South American teams, your Argentinas, your Brazils and stuff. I don't see Spanish having a massive edge with it, and the French and everything like that. I think it should be more down to the, you know what I mean? Hot weather's hot weather. Do you know what I mean? And like John just said in the comments
I'll
that,
tell you what was, if you've been in fucking UK instead of off
Yeah.
on holiday last week, hot weather isn't hot weather. Last week was fucking horrific.
I was in the Isle of Wight, mate, so I wasn't like, I wasn't out of the country as such. Do you know what I mean? So I knew it was warm, and it was, yeah. But I don't buy all this weather excuse, that's why I'm happy that they've gone out early to adapt to the conditions, and whatever they need to do, whatever the specialists or whatever they feel is necessary. You know what I mean? They've got a massive backroom team that they'll know exactly how they're going to get the players to adapt to these conditions. So for me, it's not an excuse. It's the World Cup. It's the pinnacle. You've got to be ready to perform. You've got to be ready to perform at your peak. So whatever they have trusted them to do, and I quite like the idea of them going out 2 weeks before. I think this is it's the best thing. Sometimes the sending out games and stuff like that from England. It's great to fill Wembley, but at the end of the day, it's just another it's just a friendly, isn't it? But I think out there will be a point to prove. You'll feel like you're in where the competition's beginning, and probably those games will feel like the start of, not the start of the tournament, but the start of the project. Do you know what I mean? What you're there to do, what the ultimate goal is, and it's going to be to give everyone minutes to get everyone sort of adapted to these conditions and playing in these conditions. So, yeah, I think they've done the right thing going out early, especially when you think it's England's game's Wednesday, so it's still 2 weeks this coming Wednesday before, you know what I mean, before England even kick the ball.
Am I right thinking England's friendlies are Saturday and then Wednesday, and then they've got a week before their actual game?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, we've got New Zealand Saturday, and then who have we got on the Tuesday or the Wednesday? Who is it? I don't know who we've got, but we should have looked into this, Fifey, but we're all excited about the tournament, not the friendlies. But
exactly. While I just fact check it,
yeah.
Let's talk about the squad then. Jordan Pickford will obviously be the number one. Henderson and Trafford picked as his backups. I think that's fairly self-picked.
Fairly solid. Pickford's number one. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
Costa Rica on Wednesday, by the way.
Costa Rica on Wednesday. Yeah, pretty solid goalkeepers. I can see Henderson being the number two. Nothing
Henderson's
against
fantastic. I'm a big Dean Henderson fan.
You know what I mean? I'm all for people that have played for their clubs and stuff like that. And I think Trafford's just been unlucky that they've had Donnarumma, who is an outstanding keeper.
Well, he's unlucky that Donnarumma became available after he was bought.
Yeah, because he was bought. Trafford was initially bought in when Ederson went. Trafford was bought in, and I think even he, under the impression, was like, "Well, I'm going to be number one here."
Correct.
And then.
And just a slight sidestep here. I don't believe I did it on Fools. I've definitely done it at work. I'd be interested in your thoughts on this. And the reason I think Dean Henderson is number two is really good is I've openly and gone on record as saying Jordan Pickford is probably in my top 5 goalkeepers in the world. And the reason I think he is that is because he doesn't play for a Real Madrid. He doesn't play for a PSG. He doesn't play for a Man City. Jordan Pickford plays for Everton and has shots at him all the time and produces some absolute world-class saves in almost every game. And this is why I quite like Henderson, because he's doing the same at Palace.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a really valid point. Goalkeepers can be outstanding, but if it's all like you said, if you get sometimes a team that don't have as many shots on them, and the keeper, they're there to be sometimes like an 11th outfield player, aren't they? 9 times out of 10, they're on the edge of their own box. They use as a sweeper keeper, but you'll bang on with the points. Like, we could go with dissecting to keepers all night long, but I just love to see a good shot stopper as a keeper, and Jordan Pickford and Henderson are definitely that. Like you say, they come up against the top 6 or the top 8 in the Premier League. They're getting shots at them all, you know what I mean, every 5 minutes in a game. You know what I mean, it's great. But Pickford, he's he's just a stalwart, and he never let England down for me. I just think he comes alive even more for England, doesn't he? He's just that character
He's
about
like a
him.
golden version of Peter Crouch, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. He is just. There's just something about him when he puts that England shirt on. He's just a completely. I wouldn't say different animal, because he cares so much about playing for Everton, doesn't he? But he's just got
But I
that
know what you
passion.
mean. He's
Yeah.
got that. He is that fan who's living the dream.
He's living the dream, 100%.
But I see a lot of Pickford in Henderson. That I think he's a character. I think he's got that larger than life personality. You see how he interacts with the Crystal Palace fans, for example. He stood there. He's joining in the chants and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Henderson's obviously had an opportunity in the past. Would it surprise me if he got a move to a top 4 English club? No. Do I think he should go? No. You know, he's getting European experience at Palace. You know, how many of those clubs could he get into? Yes, probably he could get into, you know, Henderson would get into Chelsea. Henderson would get into Liverpool. Henderson would probably, at this moment in time, get into Man United, ironically.
Yeah.
But I think he's better served where he is.
Well, hopefully now Palace are making that progress, and where they've won the Conference League, that puts them into the Europa League, which they were, you know what I mean, if you look at it last year, that's where they feel like they should have been last season. But that's for another story. But yeah, no, I totally agree. Obviously, you don't see him getting into Man City, and you don't see him getting into Arsenal. But you have a look at Liverpool at the moment with the conversations that apparently Alisson might be leaving. You look at the Chelsea goalkeeper situation, which is absolutely horrendous. You know what I mean? But Chelsea are not in European
Not even
football
in
next season. So that's not. Would you see that as a progression? Probably not. So the only one would probably be, like you say, Liverpool. I think Man United are pretty set with this Lamans that they've brought in. They've put their eggs in his basket, and I think he's had quite a good season, to be honest. But yeah, the only one that you could probably look at would be Liverpool. But would they be looking at someone like that? I don't know. But no, I think Henderson should stay at Palace. I think him and Pickford and playing for these sort of mid-table Premier League sides or top 8. You know what I mean? Like you say, they're a lot more. You see a lot more of them. Let's put it that way.
We could go through every player. I'm not going to go through every player. I'm going to pick certain ones out for you so that we can talk about some of the other nations as well. But just having a look at the defenders, I'll be honest, I don't watch enough German football to comment on Kwanzaa's inclusion. Jed Spence is the one that caught the eye. I'd like your opinion on that in just a second. But the two headline ones for me, Reece James, phenomenal footballer, no question about that. Do you believe he will last the tournament? And John Stones has been included. Now, he's had very limited game time at Man City. And when you consider what you were saying about Pickford, for example, you would probably say the same about Harry Maguire. The fact that Stones has got in and Maguire hasn't, do you consider that a Tuchel call, basically?
Definitely a Tuchel call, yeah. A lot of people have been making comparisons saying that it was between Harry Maguire and Dan Burn. I totally disagree. I think it was between Harry Maguire. I think Dan Burn was always going because he offers you that left side balance. He can play left back. He offers you that left side balance. I think Dan Burn was always going. I think the choice call was between Stones and Maguire. He was always going to take one of the experienced heads. On paper, I can see where people are saying that Maguire's been done by. Because if as me for a direct comparison, if you ask me 100% John Stones or 100% Harry Maguire, I would take John Stones just because I like John Stones as a footballer. I think he offers you that ball playing bit of a centre half, which I quite like. And I would always take John Stones. But when you've looked at it this season and how many games Stones has played and the big impact that Maguire's had second half of the season for United, I think I can see why a lot of people are saying that Maguire's been hard done by, which I totally get. But this is on the flip side of this, is that if you've got a player there that's wanting to play, I think Stones is very realistic in what his role is going to be at this World Cup. Stones isn't going to be a starter for me. He's going to be in and about the squad. He's going to be that experienced head for someone to lean on. Yeah. Let's not forget, we're going to have two, and I rate these two very highly, but we're going to have two Konsa and Gahey, two, in my opinion, very, very good centre halves. Very good, but very young. You know what I mean? And yeah, you're young enough, you're good enough, whatever that motto is. But just to have that head to fall back on if they need that bit of advice from a Stones. And I think Stones is probably that little bit more of a character like that compared to Maguire. So that's the only reason I see that they've got him over, that Stones is in over Maguire for me.
For me, maybe personality in terms of being laughy, jokey, buzzing about the place, maybe. I think what you describe is correct. I think everything that Stones offers experience-wise, Maguire does too. So it's very much one or the other. The only thing for me is if worst comes to the worst, and, you know, I always believe Harry Maguire is going to score a header at some point. You know, if worst comes to the worst and we need someone to pull something out of somewhere, you know we're going to get a corner and Harry Maguire is going to bullet header that fucker into the net. He's going to rip the net off with his head. I just don't get that from John Stones. I could be doing him a disservice, but I don't get the same feeling from John Stones. But no, very good. Let's talk about
if you want it. The thing is, on the flip side, if you're wanting that option, someone to score a header, there's going to be no one better than Dan Burn. If you want to chuck someone up there for you know what I mean, Dan Burn is going to be. I think he'll have a big say in this tournament, Dan Burn. I think
I would absolutely love to see. I'm trying to think, and without doing them a disservice, Croatia generally are small technical players with one physical lad up front. I would love to see the Croatian national team come up against the defensive partnership of Dan Burn and Harry Maguire and just fucking shit themselves.
Yeah, just looking up like this. Ow, my neck hurts. Yeah.
So I've been listening to a lot of like Sky Sports News pundits and TalkSport pundits, and I find this interesting. Midfield I like a lot generally, but we're not littered as we have in previous, whether it's under Southgate or even if you go back as far as the Golden Generation. We're not littered with those permanently dubbed world-class players. You know, I like the fact that Elliot Anderson's there. I'm a big Eze fan. Just don't let him anywhere near a penalty. I'm delighted Kobbie Main, who's played his way back into the squad. Declan Rice is obviously a phenomenal player. Morgan Rogers again. I'm very, very disappointed Morgan Gibbs-White hasn't got a call up. I believe he was the highest accumulated goals scored and assists of any English midfielder. Somehow another manager has found a place for Jordan Henderson, though.
He's that Stones mould in the midfield.
How many of these do we need?
I think you need a few around the squad. That's the only argument that I will give. I do massively agree with your point about Morgan Gibbs-White. That is the one that I feel sorry for in that midfield. That is the one person that I do feel sorry for, because I think he could have offered you something the last few weeks for Forest. He's come off the left. And I think he could have been a different option off the left. I think we've got a lot of very direct wingers this year in your Sakas, Maduekes, your Gordons, your Rashfords. We've got a lot of direct wingers, but not those ones that are going to maybe come in off the line and try and offer you something that way. So that's why I would have liked to have seen Gibbs-White, because he could have offered you that flexibility of playing in that 10 role, or you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But this is another thing that Tuchel's done. I think he's trying to just 2 players for each position. Yeah, you're going to need a little bit more on the fringes, but 2 for each position, to just giving people that direct competition and knowing what they're up against. And
he's also picked a lot of versatile players who can play more than one position.
Yeah, and that's what I, you know what I mean. I think just slowly going back on the defenders, I thought Lewis Hall was unlucky to miss out, but I think
very much so.
Jed Spence has got in because he's got that versatility of playing left and right back.
Same reason Livramento's there.
Exactly. Livramento can do the same. Left and right back, I actually really like Tino Livramento, to be honest. I think he's a very, very good footballer, good, you know what I mean, good fullback. And when you've got the doubts about Reece James, to have the options of Spence or Livramento, and then you've got the option of Dan Burn playing left back if you need him to, I can see how it's all panned out. But Lewis Hall, he's going to still have a lot of tournaments, you know what I mean, ahead of him. He's still a young lad, and I can't see any reason why he wouldn't if he carries on the way he's trajectorying. I think he's right up there with one of our best naturally left-footed left backs. And in the next couple of years, I'd be very surprised if he's not first choice for the Euros in a couple of years' time. But I felt for Lewis Hall. But yeah, on the midfielders, I felt for Gibbs White. But I just think it's like you said, getting that bit of versatility. For me, it's going to be Rice, Anderson, and then one of Morgan Rogers or Rogers or Bellingham. That's for my three in the midfield. I think Anderson and Rice this season have been phenomenal for their clubs. I think they both offer you that option, and then you've got Kobe Mainu as backup there in that deep lying role. You've got Henderson there as well, just as an option.
Let's not forget Reece James can play there as well.
Reece James can play there,
John Stones can play there.
John Stones, yeah. Well, I don't know about his legs, but yeah. But I think that's why I can just see where he's trying to fit them in. I can sort of see it. So I kind of understand and get it, but you look at the players. The one for me, a lot of people moaning about Palmer and Foden and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, great talents on their day, but this is what I like about Tuchel. He has not seen enough of them for their clubs this season. There's been players that have been playing. He could have quite easily gone. You know what I mean? You look at it and he could have quite easily gone. Well, no, like some managers do feel like they have to oblige to pick these players from Man City and from Chelsea and stuff like that.
Okay.
But he's gone with the options that he feels have been performing better for their clubs, which you can't moan at all.
Finally, the attackers. Then you mentioned no Foden, no Palmer. I don't think that was really a surprise to many for the reasons you outlined. Harry Kane's obviously going to lead the line. Barcelona pair, as they are now, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Gordon, are in the squad. Bukayo Saka, Madueke, also there. Ollie Watkins, the man we mentioned earlier, he's in the team again, as is Tony. So the couple I want to ask you about is, for me personally, and again, I could be doing a disservice. I think Tony's numbers this season have been sensational. I think he's got 40-something goals playing for Al Ahly. However, I don't believe the standard he's playing at is good enough to warrant the international call-up. I believe... initially, I said Calvert-Lewin was unlucky. I thought he's had a great season at Leeds, playing at the highest level and staying fit, proving a point, if nothing else. But equally, I think Danny Welbeck's been sensational at Brighton and has been overlooked chronically here because, again, offers something very different to what any of the strikers do. But I also have a potentially audience-dividing question for you.
Well,
is there a discussion to be had that Saka doesn't warrant starting for England?
No.
Because his performances for Arsenal this year have not been setting the world alight.
No, I get it.
He disappeared completely in the Champions League final.
I think the only thing that you've got is when I was just sort of lining them out, who's going to play in those positions. And if he's going to be putting, you know what I mean, people in their correct positions and not moving people out of their positions to accommodate others, is Saka and Madueke down that right-hand side. And yeah, there might be a game or two, but I think Saka's shown himself in an England shirt that he's got big moments in him. You know what I mean? I remember the game, scored the equaliser when we went behind against, was it Switzerland? Yes, it was Switzerland, wasn't it? Yeah, got us back to one each. So he's had moments, great moments in an England shirt. So for me, I think for me he's first choice down that right hand side. Yeah, I can see. I think Madueke's been brought in because he has got that impact. He's got that pace. I quite like what Tuchel's done.
He's behind Saka.
Yeah, he's gone for very direct wingers, hasn't he? Like I said earlier about the Gibbs White thing of someone coming in from I think he wants the wingers to be high. He wants them to be wide. He wants them to be going direct at the opposition fullbacks, and he wants them to be taking them on because that's what Saka, that's what Madueke, that's what Gordon, and that's what Rashford do. They're very quick and very direct, and they will get in and around our front man, whether it's Kane, Tony, Watkins. You know what I mean? They'll get in and around our front men, and hopefully they're going to have a massive impact, because sometimes you find when you do play a Foden or a Palmer, the one thing they do lack is that raw pace, and sometimes it can leave our front man very isolated, which with the pace of around him, hopefully that won't happen.
Okay. Well, let's take a little look around the World Cup then. And let's just get your opinions. I know there are various permutations about who can and can't qualify. So what I'm going to do is just ask you. I'll go through each group quickly, and I'm just going to ask you who's going to win each group, and if there's any sort of dark horses within the groups to look out for. So Group A, it's Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, and Czechia. Obviously, everyone will remember that Mexico-South Africa was the opening game of the South Africa World Cup and one of the most infamous bits of commentary in the history of football when Shabalala scored. What do you make of Group A? Personally, I think that could be quite an entertaining one to watch.
Yeah, I do think it seems a very even group on paper, doesn't it? I think for me, it's probably Mexico's, with the backing and with the used to the conditions and everything like that, if we're looking at it like from that front. But then you can't write off Czech Republic are just one of those that are a solid European international side that are tough to come up against. South Korea
are always tough.
South Korea are always tough. They've got a lot of engine, lot of energy. You know what I mean? They won't have no problems with that. I don't know too much about the South African side, if I'm completely honest, or whether what they're going to be able to offer. But for me, I think it would be Mexico that you'd have to say would be the favourites to top that group, just with the host support and everything like that. Yeah.
Okay. Group B sees another host, Canada, without Junior Hoilett, take on Bosnia and Herzegovina, former host Qatar, and Switzerland. You used the phrase in Group A, a fairly even group. I think this is very similar, but on paper, and I don't want to discredit these nations, a lot less entertaining than Group A.
Yeah.
It's a very boring World Cup group.
Yeah, it's not. It's one of those again, really. You probably play this group 10 times and you'd probably have a different winner of them possibly 4 or 5 times for me. Mm-hmm. You can't even write off Qatar after some of their performances. You know what I mean? I in the last World Cup, I thought they were very, very good. Switzerland, you could do a direct comparison with Czechia and probably a little bit better. So, and then you've got Canada, a host nation. It's amazing what a host nation, having that boost that it gives you. Canada for me
was it not Japan and Korea where South Korea got all the way to the semi?
Yeah, you know, it's and you get right on the crest of that wave, you've got a massive opportunity. I don't think the Canadian side is that great, but I think they're going to be set up to. They've got a lot of pace, a lot of power, and they've got a sprinkled there with a couple of really good players. Alphonso Davies, haven't they? They've got that. Mm-hmm. David that plays up front, and I think they've got some real talent. So for me, I think Bosnia are a very aging side. For me, they would be them, and Qatar are going to be the bottom 2 in that for me, and I think it will be between Canada and Switzerland fighting it out for top of the group.
Okay. Group C sees a injured Neymar included Brazil side host an improving Morocco, and the unknown quantity in Haiti, and the real dark horses of the tournament, Scotland.
Yeah, Brazil's to lose. it's yeah. I just think it will be. It's one of those groups for me. I don't know. Morocco's an interesting one.
Do you look at it and view this as an opportunity for Scotland to get out
of the group? Massive opportunity. Massive. I can't see, especially with the way that the tournament's set up now, you can finish 3rd and get out of the group. Like, it's It's crazy,
Okay,
isn't it? Really,
let's put this in normal people terms. Could you see Scotland being in the top 2 in their group?
I can definitely. I like Steve Clark. Always liked Steve Clark, and I take my English tinted glasses off and stuff like that. There's England, Scotland, all this and that. I like Scotland as a team. They've got some really nice, really good
They've
players
got a
that I
never
like.
say die attitude about them. haven't
100%, and they've got some good footballers, mate. Like John McGinn, like very, very good footballer.
they? Like European destroying, by the way, John McGinn and
Yeah.
Ballon d'Or nominee Scott McTominay.
Scott McTominay, look at the
Who's
level
become
that he's
phenomenal in
gone.
Serie A.
Unbelievable. Like two very,
Billy
very good.
Gilmore has got injured, however, and had to be replaced in the Scotland squad. That is a loss for them.
Massive loss, yeah. The only thing I think with Scotland, and the only thing they've got some really good
Small
creative
nation
players,
syndrome.
they've just not got that goal scorer, and this is what lets they just haven't. I can't get excited about Lyndon Dykes and Che Adams. I don't know, but in answer to your question with the group, I think Brazil will win the group, and I think it will be between Scotland and Morocco for that second place. And just for the fact of it, I would like to see Scotland progress. I just would. I just think it's good for the home nations, isn't it? It's good for thing. And like I said at the top of reviewing this, I really like Steve Clark. I've always liked him as a coach. I think he says it how it is. I just like him as a person, and I would love him to do very well. I really would.
Okay. Group D sees host nation USA versus South American side Paraguay. The eternal don't know what you're going to get from them Australia.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times they change their name, they will be forever called Turkey.
Yeah. Turkey. Turkey.
I personally think this is one of the hardest ones to call because I think it's
100%.
it's 4 even sides, but just like Group A, I think this will be an entertaining group to watch.
100%. I think each game will be pretty open. Paraguay are a very expansive team that, like most South American teams are. Against certain teams, they will try and be difficult to beat, but I think against most, they'll have a go. Australia, like you said, you don't know what you're going to get. Turkey, good players on paper. You look at some of the squad, and I like them. You know what I mean? They've got some good talent. The USA have got the crest of the wave. As love or hate USA supporters, as love or hate USA as supporters and stuff like that for sport, but they will get behind their team, won't they? You know what I mean? That's something that will happen. And
Poch knows what he's doing.
yeah, and they've exactly, and that was my next point. They've got an experienced, good head coach. Like, you know what I mean? He'll know how to set them up. He'll know how to make them how he wants them to be. I don't think they will shut up. I think Pochettino's got his way of playing football, and I think he'll try and make the USA do that. Whether they've got the players to do that, that would be my only sort of thing. But like you said, on paper, I think it's a very hard group, a very, very difficult group.
While we're on the subject of the host nation, let me ask you your thoughts. They're going to go a bit Super Bowl with a halftime show.
Oh, yeah, it's a bit much, isn't it? It's a bit much. It's just the way that sport's going. Don't get me wrong, I love the Killers, but was that really needed in the Champions League on Saturday? Do you know what I mean? It was like, it's just getting it. I think this is the way that sport is going now, isn't it? It's all a bit.
It will never wash in the FA Cup.
No, it wouldn't, because it's just British tradition and stuff like that. But whenever you chuck a bit of European flair or on the international stage and stuff like that, this is what happens, isn't it? And yeah, I can't get excited. Let's put it this way: I'll be going to get a bit. I'll be getting a. Go on.
Both BBC and ITV have said they're not going to be showing the halftime show.
Well, that's something. At least we don't have to watch it then. That's true. So that's all well and good. I'd rather listen to Shearer or Ian Wright or something like that, whoever's there. I'd rather be talking about the game itself than listening to a band. Yeah.
Well,
so,
I don't know. I would love to hear. I would love to hear a Shearer Shakira duet. That would be sensational.
If they get Alan Shearer involved, I'm all for it.
Group E, I don't believe is the foregone conclusion. Some think it is.
Who did you? By the way, I couldn't pick a winner in Group D. Who do you like in Group D?
I think when I first looked at it, and I thought this is a tough one to call, I thought USA might do it as the home side, but
Yeah.
something about Paraguay tells me that they're good enough.
I think I totally agree. I think Paraguay could be the one in the conditions that I do. If you had to pin me to the mast and say who I think it could be for me. I think Paraguay could be the one in that group. Yeah, I agree.
Group E is not the foregone conclusion people think it is. Germany headline a group with is it Curacao or Curacao? But Ivory Coast and Ecuador are no mugs.
No mugs, but there's Germany's to lose, Fifey.
Yeah, but this
Nah.
isn't a Germany side of old. This
No.
Germany side isn't a great Germany side.
No, I agree. But just coming up against the Germans is just, I don't know if it's just we're battle hardened and scarred by it when we play. Apart from last time,
Well, the
obviously,
thing
where
is,
we beat them.
like I've said for the last couple of tournaments, if we come up against Germany at any point, I'm not scared.
No, I get that. And I agree with you. I don't think Ivory Coast and Ecuador will come up against the German side and be afraid. But I do think Germany will top the group. And I think it'll be between Ivory Coast and Ecuador. I probably would just sway towards Ecuador. Yet again, South American side, conditions all suited for them. Support, I'd probably just sway towards them. And I don't think Ivory Coast are the team that they were 10, 15 years ago when they had the likes of your Drogbas and you look at the team they had then, they were a proper danger, weren't they? But I don't see them that no more. But yeah, Germany's to lose for me, and followed by Ecuador.
Okay. Group F is another one of those where I think it could be a fun watch.
Yes.
And I don't think there's an outright winner. Netherlands headline against a very strong Japan side who, if people underestimate Japan, let's not forget what Japan did to England not that long ago.
Yeah.
Sweden are not a great Sweden team, and I believe Potter's still in charge, so they're my tip to finish bottom. Tunisia again. Tunisia, one of those nations you come up against, and they're just always difficult.
Yeah, always difficult. I do agree. I think it's between the top two. I do agree with you about Sweden. I think they've rode off the Ibrahimovic wave for long enough. But don't get me wrong. If they can get Isak and Gyökeres firing, they've got two very good.
Making it. There's no way Isak's making it.
I haven't even looked at the squad, to be honest. But I think they'd be stupid not to take him because
he can't possibly be fit, can he?
I don't know. It's something we probably need to look at here, but I'm on my phone, can't look at it. But
it's all right, you keep talking. I'll check.
Yeah, but yeah, to me, I don't get too downbeat with friendly. So when England did get beat by Japan, I was kind of like, okay, not ideal, but nothing to really. And with Tuchel's squad that he picked for those two games, it was all about giving the people the opportunity that were on the fringes of the squad. But I see it between Netherlands and Japan. And that could be another one where you could see it going either way. I do like the Japanese, and a lot of people have been talking up the Japanese even before England played them in the friendly. A lot of people confidence from Japan saying this is one of the best squads that they've had to a tournament in many a year. So they could be in that sort of dark horse category, couldn't they? Japan for the tournament as a whole, not just in this group. I could see them rattling a few cages, definitely.
I would like to offer you and everyone watching and listening a public apology, because you are clearly a man in the know, because no more than 1 hour ago, it was reported Alexander Isak made an immediate impact on his return from injury for Sweden, scoring a goal in Sweden's World Cup warm-up friendly, and has gone on to say to media after the game, I think I'm going to be ready to start the first game.
There we go. He does give Sweden an opportunity.
I forget as well, not only have they got a returning to fitness Isak, but they've got a Champions League finalist in Gyökeres as well as their other striker.
Well, that's what I was saying. They've got a front two that could damage teams. You know what I mean? That could hurt teams. If you look at it, if they get those two firing, Sweden have always been quite that solid team at the back that have always been quite resolute. And if you can see their game plan, it's going to be let's get the ball forward to these two and let's see what they can do. The only
That is
shame,
exactly what you were saying about the likes of Scotland. Scotland don't have an Isak and a Gyökeres.
yeah, Scotland don't have an Isak and Gyökeres, whereas Sweden, they've got those sort of players that could score you goals. So that's why, as much as you said about Sweden and Potter, it for me, I kind of give
It's a
them a
bit like, not quite to the same extent, but it's a bit like how everyone said, despite they had their golden generation, Belgium would never win anything with Martinez, despite the fact they had Lukaku and De Bruyne.
yeah. It's quite an open group. For me, Tunisia, I understand your argument, but for me, I think it's between the top three, and I know I'm not giving you much there. Top three and the top four in the full group, but you know what I mean. Netherlands are not the force of old, are they? Van Dijk
No,
aging,
their fans are fun.
yeah, the fans are fun, yeah. But for me, I'm going to kind of go now. You've heard about this Isak and thing. I think
You changed your mind.
I'm going to go full flip. I think Sweden, Japan could be the two. I do, but it's one of those, isn't it? It could go either way, that group. But like you said, there's going to be some entertaining games there, definitely.
One group I don't see going either way. I think one group that's very much split in half is Group G. You've got Belgium and Egypt, and then you have Iran and New Zealand.
Yeah, I totally agree. Top two, bottom two. That is simple as that, isn't it? It'd just be on that Iran versus New Zealand game. I think it'll go the way it stands. I think it'll be Belgium, Egypt, Iran, New Zealand. You never know, that might get Iran through, depending on how they perform or what they get. I don't think Egypt are that strong, to be perfectly honest with you. They've got Salah, haven't they? It's the Salah effect and Marmouche, and they're another one, like you say, when you look at those two.
You name one more Egyptian player where you're going to go, actually, now I've heard all these names.
Well, I couldn't probably tell you, but not I'm just trying to think of it. Yeah, but they're they're two good, talented footballers, aren't they? You know what I mean? They're it's another one again that you look back at the argument with Scotland that I see that good footballers, but have they got that goal threat? Whereas Marmouche and Salah give Egypt that goal threat. So yeah, but I don't see, even though it is an aging, or well, not aging Belgium side, is it really? Because they've started to bring through the new generation, and I haven't really looked at the Belgium squad because De Bruyne has been injured, hasn't he? Is he back? I know he was out. I think he was out for Napoli towards the end of the season, so I don't know what the Belgium squad are looking like. I think they always deserve a bit of respect going into tournaments, Belgium. I really do. But do they? I think their chance of winning a tournament.
Well, 3 hours ago, Belgium announced their World Cup squad. What's your
Talk to me.
The big news from their squad announcement was the inclusion of record goal scorer Romelu Lukaku, despite concerns over the 33-year-old's match fitness. He'll hope to play in his 4th successive World Cup alongside fellow call-ups Thibaut Courtois, Kevin De Bruyne, and Axel Witsel.
There we go. So they've got, that's their 4, isn't it? Their experienced heads, and then I think it's a lot more of a bit of a younger talent now. So yeah, I it's one of them, isn't it? I think their chance has gone, and I can't see them being contenders for the competition. But they're good, for me. They're going to win their group, so I think they'll get out easily, and then they'll see where it takes them.
Group H, and I don't want to do a disrespect or a disservice, but Group H appears to be a gift for Spain, who should walk their group. You'd imagine probably Uruguay second, with Saudi Arabia and Cape Verde third and fourth.
Yeah, I couldn't see anything different. I think it'll be Spain, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, Cape Verde. Love to see these teams first. Cape Verde, love to see them. Like I say, it's brilliant for them, for their little nation. You know what I mean? I think that's class. And this is where I know it's sort of people say about it, oh, bigger competition, this and this. it's great for these nations, mate. Isn't it? Really, like a World Cup is the
And it gives you
pinnacle,
exposure to a player that you would have never seen that might actually be
100%.
better than you knew.
And someone might take a punt on them. Do you know what I mean?
You
It's
full
like
well know Swindon are signing a Cape Verde international.
100%. If he has a tournament of his life, you know we're giving him a visa and he's coming over and he's playing.
Group
y-
I think Group I has a clear front runner, but what happens after that's interesting. So France, you'd imagine, will top it, but they also have Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. Now, Norway have that player, as you've been alluding to through some of the sort of secondary nations, that they have that player that knows what he's doing. So Haaland, obviously, is going to be their main threat. Senegal, again, they always turn up at a World Cup, don't they? So I think those two could be interesting for second and third. I don't really, again, apologies, I'm doing them a disservice, but I don't really see Iraq doing much in that group.
No, I totally agree. France to win the group, and then a good game between Norway and Senegal. You know what I mean? A really good game. Just trying to think who else. I think Norway are quite a strong team, haven't they? I think they've got.
I think the lad, no, it doesn't mean anything to you, but I think the lad who's been playing in number 10 at Rangers is also Norwegian, and he's quite handy with the ball, gets a few assists.
Yeah, like I say, if they can give Haaland assist, if they can give Haaland the service, he's one of those that I'd even put it as there. If they have a fire in Haaland, dark horses, Norway, definitely a big, you know what I mean, an opportunity to progress in the competition 100% and rattle a few cages. Let's not joke. The French team are always slow burners in these competitions. Takes them a lot of time to get going, and they do make it work. But France have got some tough games in this group. Like Norway and Senegal they're no gimmies. They're no like.
Was it France 9? No, was it 2002 where Senegal beat France?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just they're no gimme games, and I don't know how it all pans out actually with the fixtures in that group of who France have got first. Let me just see if I can find it in my little book that I've got. I've pinched Theo's sticker book here, just to give me the
lowdown.
Give me the lowdown, and now I can't find this group. Why can't I find it?
It's Group I, it'll be towards the back.
Group I. Come on, we're getting past the Spain. Here we go. So yeah, their first game is Senegal, and then their second game is
an easy start.
No, it's not. And then they've got Iraq second, and then they've got Norway last.
Norway, who may still have something to play for, depending on
100%. And Norway could have a bit of a free punch, couldn't they? Really, because if they think that if they've performed well again, for that sets up lovely for Norway, knowing that they've got Iraq first, so they could get 3 points on the board, and then they could flow into that Senegal game. You never like Norway could be 6 points in going up against France in the last game.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
And then, yeah, it's the first game's never easy. You just want to get it out of the way.
Well, Argentina lost the first game of the last World Cup.
Yeah,
and went on to win it.
100%. So yeah, I can see it being not a gimme group. It's not like you looked at Spain's group on paper and then you look at France's group. I think that's complete chalk and cheese. I think Spain is, for me, it's a certainty. They're to the top of the group.
Speaking of certainties, Group J sees Argentina play Algeria, Austria, and Jordan.
Yeah, the only ones that the only team that I could see them maybe having a little bit of a trouble against is Austria, but the other two would just.
Are you looking at that with such confidence you could say rest Messi for the knockout games?
Yeah, they could do if they really wanted to. Imagine the backlash if they didn't though. Yeah. Oh, why didn't we play Messi? But yeah, that's Argentina's to lose, isn't it? I couldn't even tell you. Austria always been quite a hardy sort of European side, but Jordan don't know enough about. Algeria, Does Mahrez still play? No, he can't do, can he? I don't know, but yeah, not enough for
Is he in
me.
the sticker book?
I don't know. Let's have a look. Probably ain't got the sticker, but
While you're looking at their squad on the sticker book,
on the sticker book.
I will talk about the penultimate group. As an aging Portugal should find qualification easy enough as they play the Democratic Republic of
Wow,
Congo and
Fifey,
Uzbekistan.
I'm so sorry. We've done Norway a complete disservice here.
Oh, I do have
Martin Odegaard, Sorloth, Oscar Bob, Strand Larson.
I don't think we've done them that much for disservice, mate.
Well, I think they've got a massive chance in that group. I really do. Let me have a look. So here we go. Are we on the Algeria page? Is he there? Bentaleb. Mahrez does still play. Yeah. Saeed Benrahma. Yeah, I can't get excited for them at all, really, to be honest with you. Or even Australia. Austria. I'm still looking at Marko Arnautovic and thinking, oh my God, is he still any good? But he isn't, is he? He's not any good.
No. So I was just saying the penultimate group, Portugal may be aging, but they've still got talent within their ranks. They should achieve qualification. Colombia, you'd imagine, are their biggest threat. Again, without knowing too much about them, Democratic Republic of Congo and Uzbekistan, you're not thinking of threatening Portugal and Colombia.
No, I like you say, that is a Portugal's to lose. They've still got they've got a really good squad of players, haven't they? Really good, proven Premier League footballers. Yeah, maybe aging a little bit. The likes of your Bernardo Silvas, you've got your Ronaldos in there. You've got, you know what I mean. But I think just one thing they maybe do lack is, even though they play him down the middle, is that's just that central striker. Because Ronaldo is getting to that point, but he's still a serious talent, isn't he? But Colombia, as much as I hate them.
Before you mentioned Colombia, I just wanted to say about Portugal. They are very much still riding that crest of emotion, that wave of emotion about Diogo Jota as well. They've even named him in the squad.
Very, very true. That is a big factor as well, because you're gonna feel like that they're doing this for him. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I didn't even think of that factor, and that is a very, very fair point. Colombia hated them when they played us at the last World Cup.
That James Rodriguez volley.
Yeah, I hated them when they played us again in the last World Cup. Tough team, got some good players. Luis Diaz, James Rodriguez. They've got just some tough players. But yeah, for me, Portugal win that group, followed by Colombia, and the other two I don't know enough.
Okay, and that leaves us with England's group. I presume you're going to back the boys to win the group. But what do you make it? It's not an easy group. It could have been worse, but it's not an easy group. I personally think Ghana can cause us problems. We know Croatia can.
I think Ghana are our main problem. I think Croatia, I don't fear them like I used to. Not fear them, but they were always that team that we come up against, and we always fell short, and we tried to benchmark ourselves against Croatia, didn't we? We always seemed to come up against Croatia. Mm-hmm. But I love Luka Modric, but he's 40 years of age. I know he's a freak, and he's a great player, but yeah, I just can't see it, and I don't think they've got the same attacking threat as what they used to have. I still think they'll be difficult to break down. I still think they'll be very difficult to play against. Technically sound, 100%. So they are a tough. It was one of those, when you look at it on paper, people can never. People that are going, oh, it's an easy group. No, it isn't, because you look at Argentina's, you look at Spain's, and you think, no, that's the easy groups. That's the easy groups. Us, we've still got to perform. We're lucky we've got a team like Panama that you think, look, if we are in a bit of trouble, I think it's good that we've got Panama as the last game, because it's the
summer night out.
Yeah, the full summer night out for that one, and it's the one that you'd think that they're the 3 points that are pretty set in stone. The other two games are a challenge, don't get me wrong, and I fear the Ghana game more. I had a little look into Ghana the last couple of days. I didn't even realise they've got a great head coach in that Carlos Queiroz, who used to manage Iran, I believe, didn't he? And always got them. It did very well with them. They've got some good players, that are difficult. Semenyo, talent, been brilliant for Man City this year. But we'll have enough. I'd be very, very surprised if we don't top the group. Let's put it that way. I'll be very surprised if we don't. But we're gonna have to perform. We're gonna have to. There's no, you know what I mean. If we've got to try and win that first game against Croatia, and that alleviates all the pressure for me. If we get the 3 points there, I think that's massive. Because the Ghana game, then you can kind of look at it and go, of course you want to win every game, but you've got that option of falling back to a point knowing that you should get the 3 against Panama, and I think 7 points should be enough to top the group. So, yeah, you never know with England. We could coast them and go and win all 3, couldn't we? Or we could quite easily put ourselves in a difficult position knowing that we need 3 points against Panama for the last game. But, yeah, not the easiest group, but definitely not a group of death like you would look at some of the other groups and you think, oh, 4 teams that are all pretty even standard. And if you offered me our group or France's group, I would have definitely took this group over France's group, because I think Senegal and Norway are definitely, even though we've beaten Senegal in previous tournaments, I wouldn't have liked to come up against Erling Haaland and Norway in a group like that.
Well, listen, Woz, we've done an hour on the World Cup. Thank you so much for jumping on to chat. I'm going to ask one final question before we finish. I'm going to keep the faith and I'm going to believe. You're going to keep the faith and you're going to believe. But if it's not England, who wins the World Cup? Are you giving it to the South American big boys in Brazil and Argentina? Are you giving it to the bookies' favourites in France and Spain?
Yeah, I lean more towards the European teams just because I probably know a little bit more. In their own backyard, these South American teams will be difficult, but I just sometimes think they haven't got that squad mentality. I think sometimes they're a bit more about their individuals
Ready
and
to
their
explode.
yeah. And when they come up against these bigger talents, after what you've said to me, I think that Diego Jota thing could ride a long old way for Portugal. I really do. I think Portugal have got a massive chance. I think Spain are rightful favourites. For me, I do really like the Spanish side. But yeah, I think, but if you offer me the 2, I think Spain and Portugal would probably be the 2. But it doesn't matter, mate, because they're not winning it anyway.
Well, you heard it
It's
here
coming
first,
home,
everyone. You heard it here first. This has been a fantastic 2-part special of FRI this summer. Of course, we'll be covering the World Cup throughout our usual shows. Just a reminder, Late Limbs FC back on Thursday, all being well. There's no show on Friday, but we will be back on Monday, where I've got something very enjoyable for you, not so enjoyable for the fools. My thanks to Chad for earlier. My thanks to Wazza for now, and my thanks to everyone who's been watching along and joining in the chat. We've been FRI. I will see you Thursday. We will see you on Monday. Have a great week, everyone. Good night.
Great week, everyone.
Fools rushing! Yeah, we're back again, like mates down the pub. Heart on sleeve, never tame. Yeah, from the chanting in the stands to the tackles flying in. Home and away, red blood, white shirt, where the fools rush in. Passion, debates, laughs, rants, late nights, Woody Bear, Nick Rich, Walter Kieran side by side, Craig and Ned, Joe and Mark, Art, Gary in the dark, and now we got Barry in. Yeah, the gang's all in.
Fools rushing like we're chasing one more win. We'll make you laugh, make you cry, feel happy, feel angry inside. Fools rushing like a last minute swing, just like that.